For this video, I'm going to show you how to use the Morph angle deformer. Now, it starts off very much like the other ones. You need to make sure that the envelope is selected that's going to affect it. And then we need to come down here to where it says, I'm going to add a Morph angle deformer. And we also need to select the vertices that we want it to affect. I'm going to come over here, use the lasso select. I'm just going to select all of these. Now, the reason I'm selecting all of those is because the Morph angle deformer is kind of a catch-all. It's going to be able to deform multiple things all at once. So we're going to take care of the crook in the elbow and also the muscle bulge at the same time. So select Morph angle deformer. Going to add it. And now the way that Morph angle deformer works is instead of getting a lattice that you are going to move around, which in my opinion is it's a little bit faster, it's a little bit more convenient because you don't have as many vertices that you have to worry about. But like I said, this is going to be able to handle lots of things all at once. So this is just another option that you have. We're going to actually go up to the modifier list and you're going to add an edit mesh, which you'll see I've already done right here. Okay, so now in my edit mesh, I'm going to go in here and go into vertex selection. I'm going to make the changes that I want to make. I like to use soft selection in here because it just makes it a little bit easier to move things around. Let's make the fall off much, much smaller. That way things kind of move together a little bit here. Let's kind of move this over a little, maybe up. I'm going to get this area. Let's move that over. Looking a little bit better in this area. You always want to turn around and look at it from behind as well. Probably going to need to grab all of those. Select a vertex. Let's move around. Yeah. Looks like that got moved a little bit out of place. I'm going to go ahead and move these up a little bit. Let's rotate around, see how things look. Looks a little bit sharp. I think a lot of it's probably because of that one right there. You always want to be checking as you go. Don't just assume that it's all going to look right, because it's easier to fix it now than later. Kind of rotate around. All right, so probably could do more, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to leave it at that. It does look better than it did. I'm going to increase the fall off a little bit here. That is going to help us to be able to make the bulge for the arm right there. Looks like it's got a little bit of a bicep. And to make sure that you've deselected vertex, once you're finished, let's go back down to skin. And of course, we need to have edit envelopes on. You can actually select that easily enough, just right there. Make sure that morph angle deformer is selected, as well as the envelope that's going to affect this. Now let's take a look at the deformer parameters. So what you should be able to do now is go into here, and if you notice, if I scrub back and forth, you see how it says current angle? 180. Over here is 20. Now notice how it still looks messed up. That's because of the edit mesh that I have higher up on the stack. You actually, if you don't want to see what that looks like, you can turn that off, because what that does is that shows you what everything looks like higher up on the stack. But it's a good reminder, because we're going to have to do something else here in a second. So I'm going to select Add from Stack. You'll notice that now it says Stack Morph Angle 70.88. Now it looks even more deformed than it did before. So what I do now is I come up here to Edit Mesh, and if you want to use it again sometime, you can. If you just shut that eye off, then it's not going to show up. But if you know that you're done with it for good, you can actually come up here and you can delete it, because you don't need it anymore. And you can see that now we've used our morph deformer. Now there are a few ways that you can mess this up, so please make sure that you're very careful with it. You do need to make sure that when you go into the mesh edit that you deselect vertices. The first few times I tried this, I didn't do that when I went back, and it didn't work correctly. So if you follow this if you follow it the way that I showed you, this should work just fine.